today on Google Hangout is no other person than the one we all call the Elegant Stallion. It's great to have you here at Channels Television Google Hangout.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, this is in the series of looking at women in politics and business and entertainment. Call it whatever you want, but women are everywhere. And they're meant to be part of the society, a pivotal part of the society that we're trying to develop. But recently I was listening to a lady called Sheryl Sandberg, who is the COO of Facebook. And she was saying that the percentage of women in the boardroom, in politics and other spheres of life is mind-boggling. And she analyzed it and said, partially it's the fault of women who are not putting themselves out there and taking what should be their birthright in terms of this is where I should be as a woman. They kind of like shy away from it because of what they perceive the society saying. Let's start with you, Onyeka Onwenu, by telling us, why do you think we don't have, or what will be the reason why we don't have enough women in senior positions in our society?
It's not just one reason, a number of reasons, and they all kind of interplay with one another. Number one, the socialization of women. The society says you are to be heard, and you are to be seen, not heard. Your place is in the kitchen.
Yes.
Women in the church, the same thing. In the Catholic Church, with the election of the new Pope, there's been a lot of talk about the fact that there was not one single woman amongst those who elected the Pope. Exactly. And in fact, that their roles are so limited. That socialization has caused women to see themselves as disadvantaged. If you have to step out there to be heard, you have to pay a high price for it. You're deemed to be aggressive.
Is that a bad thing for a woman to be aggressive, to be ambitious?
Not at all. But society says it's okay for a man and it's not okay for a woman. And so the interplay of all these factors make it very difficult for a woman to step out in this country. In the entertainment industry, we know what we went through and what it took to hang in there. In politics, it is still very difficult. Take, for example, the big parties when they're electing officials of the party. There's always the women's wing. I hate that thing. Because if we have the women's wing, which are the men's wing and all that, and it's not fair to limit us to the women's wing. There should be a woman chairman. There are some parties that have done better than others, and I don't want to name names because my party hasn't done too well. Don't want to get into trouble.
Yes.
But you understand what I'm saying. If you put women at that level, then changes begin to happen. But if you leave them in the women's wing, where you use them for elections, they clap and they dance and all, that's all they do. And we have this, they do the catering, they do, exactly, and when the decisions will be made, they'll be made at 3 a.m., when a respectable woman should be at home. And so you find yourself left out.
Now, you've chosen a word that I find quite interesting. You said respectable woman.
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote. Now, what would make it such that society will believe that a woman is respectable by not being at those meetings where decisions are taken?
That's just our society. And those meetings are held in hotel rooms, and a woman seen unaccompanied by her husband in a hotel room or around the hotel at that time. But I tell you something, you call a meeting at 3 a.m., I'm there.
Yeah,
you call it at 4 a.m., I am there. No apologies to anyone. If that makes me a call girl, that's what you want to think. But I am there being part of the decision making. And that's the risk, that's the decision you have to make. You have to look at yourself and be true to yourself, be true to your God, and push on and not worry about what anyone says about you.
So how do we begin to raise the girl child to have that level of confidence in themselves to the extent that they're not worried about what people say. They're focused on what they want to
It's
achieve.
the parents, particularly the mothers, I must say, and we are at fault in this regard. You have a family where there are girls and there are boys. The boys get trained and the girls get left behind. Or the boy tries to enter the kitchen to cook and the mother says, no, 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 no. You go out and play and you girls, you come in here and cook. So he never learns how to cook. The boy does anything and gets away with it. My mother was guilty of it. She had one boy and she completely spoiled him. And the girls, she didn't spoil. The last born, which was me, she didn't spoil. But the boy, because it was the only boy, and in our society, you must have a male child to have credibility or to have acceptability, a foothold in the family. And so this was very important to her, having that male child. And she spoiled my brother. And so we women we have to take a good look at how we train our children. I have two boys. They have to go into the kitchen. They have to clean house. They have to respect their girlfriends. Because if you don't, I'm going to come hard on you. And they know it.
Okay.
And if they get married and they maltreat their women, I'm going to be there fighting on the side of the woman. That's just the way it is. And we have to begin to look at ourselves and see how we are raising our own children. In a family where the woman is brutalized, where there's physical assault going on, the children are learning. And so the man, the husband, has to be very careful. You're raising your men, you're raising your boys to do this to their wives. You're also raising your girls to accept it when it's done to them. So we have a role to play within the family setup.
Okay, now you just moved into another area that is of interest to a lot of us who are watching what's happening in Nigeria and indeed around the world, the issue of domestic violence. Now, in Nigeria, some years back, I was involved in a radio program where we talked about domestic violence, and some of the women that called in on the program, they were even supporting it, saying that some of our women deserve it. They needed to be slapped a bit because they misbehave and they have no respect for their
Socialization.
Now, how do we explain that?
Socialization is the way that these women were brought up. But it is changing. Society is changing. You have younger people, younger women, who should not find it acceptable to be slapped around. I don't find it acceptable. I would never accept it. If anybody did the pushing around, it was my mother. My father would simply walk away. He would simply walk out of the situation, or decide not to eat. I should have to go and buy a goat to It depends on the family in which you are raised.
Yeah.
And if children see this happening around them all the time, they begin to accept them. And even the women begin to expect to be treated that way. And it's very, very wrong. But I think that as society changes, this would be phased out. And if I see a young person accepting physical violence, I would be very, very upset with that person. Because it's really up to you to say, no, I will not accept this.
Now, how do we get our young women to realize that it is not acceptable under any form or shape?
By doing what we're doing now, by talking about it. That's one, yes.
Is there anything else? Because we can talk from now till eternity.
No, talking is important because they hear it. It's embedded in their subconscious mind. And so when it does happen, they will remember this program. No, I shouldn't accept this. Or they see someone else and say, no, you shouldn't accept it. In our schools, in our churches, in our communities. I think that if there are strong women groups that would come out and condemn this and fight for it, provide legal assistance and legal aid to women who are being brutalized, if our courts will be made to punish those who are doing it and not find, and the police even, when they are called in, it's a family matter, and they walk away. This has got to be done at all these different levels. And then we begin to have the society change for the better. It's going on at a level that you would not believe. I mean, if women come out and really they're honest with themselves to say how they're brutalized at home, you will be shocked. Even in places where both spouses are well educated and know better. And women, out of shame, accept this. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to ruin their marriages, because a woman who is not married in Nigeria is deemed to be somehow below or of questionable character, or someone who should not be recognized. And that's why some of us take a stance. I don't discuss whether I'm married or not, because I don't want it to define me. Look at me, what I'm doing, my work, my character, who I am, should speak for itself. The fact that I'm not Mrs. somebody, or I'm not answering somebody's name, shouldn't be held against me. And that's the point I try to make with retaining my name and with not discussing whether I'm married or not. I am Onyeka Onwenu. I stand on my name.
That's interesting. But now let's look at this issue of government doing a lot more for women, because at times issues of law enforcement, and things of that nature play against women who might want to fight for their right.
Yes.
Let's start with the issue of women lobbying. There is consistent belief that women can lobby and they have a level of influence on men,
Yes.
but somehow is not reflected in governance. Why would we have government across the nation where the number of women who are in politics, number of women who are in government, number of women who are commissioners are still far below par?
Some state governments have done better than others, and I'd like to applaud them. I think Lagos State has always been like in the forefront, championing the cause of women, accepting women. And indeed, the Yorubas are wonderful with this. They're very encouraging for their women to get into politics, even the houses. But indeed, well, my people are not so good. They're going to kill me after this, but I will survive it. No, it's difficult in the Southeast. It's really, I've been there, done that. Tried to run for local government chairmanship. And the prejudices, how could we accept kola nut from a woman? Is that what I'm going there to do? To serve you kola nut? I'm going there to better the community, my local government. But having said that, I just had to bring in that so I could
it's
get people,
necessary for people to understand.
But let us recognize that this administration at the federal level has done very well for women and continues to improve. And the First Lady of Nigeria, Dame Patience Goodluck Jonathan, has done tremendous work. She has put herself out there. She has forcefully spoken, committed herself, committed her husband's government.
For the sake of some of us who may not know what she's doing, what is it she's doing?
Look out the number of women in the cabinet and the posts.
And is that the influence of...
Well, she said that she made promises during the election. Mr. President made promises, backed her up, and he has delivered and continues to deliver. You have to speak up and say that that is so, because we're going to encourage them to continue doing that. But there have been governments in the past that did well, but this is the most number of women we have had.
In government.
Yes, in government, absolutely. And I think that's a good thing. And it should get better. We shouldn't go back anymore. There should be a certain percentage designated. We should turn around to the House, to the Senate, and make sure that this is done. And even in every local government and in every state government, and say, I love what they did. Once they held elections not too long ago, and a number of posts, it was in Kenya. A number of positions were designated for women. That was put into their constitution, and it was delivered. And I think Nigeria is, for me, the greatest black nation in the world. And our women are so talented. Nigerian women, you want to know about Nigerian women? They are talented, they are beautiful, they are capable, they are committed, they are hardworking. They're all out there, even in the private sector. With all the glass ceilings they break through, they're dynamic. We should give them the opportunity to change the society at every level. We've got what it takes. What are the men afraid of, I should ask you?
I don't know. I can't say it. What is there to be afraid
of? I don't know.
I sincerely cannot see it because
50% of the population, and you want to keep us back. It's like going
more
to
than 50%.
much more. That
Yeah.
it's like, you're going to war with one hand behind your back, and you're only fighting with one hand. What a waste!
It is an absolute waste. But if we're to look at the legislation that would empower women, why are we not forcing the hands of the members of the National Assembly to do better?
You have, and I'm not. This is not a slur on the quality of people in the National Assembly. We have some wonderful people there,
So,
doing great work, doing marvelous work. But there are a lot of people in the National Assembly, and you can berate me for this, but I'm going to say it, who got there not by merit, but because our political system is still evolving, and so there are cracks and there are loopholes, and somehow they got in there for whatever reason. And when you get in there and you're not really qualified and you don't have a program, you don't have a vision, obviously you're not going to do as well as the person that does. So if we want good laws, we have to make sure that the electoral process is such that the good people get in, the people we vote in, the people we know. Not those who have influence, not those who can bribe their way through, not those who are pushed by godfathers. No. We want our laws changed. We start with the National Assembly.
So how do we begin the process? How do we get more women interested in going to the National Assembly and pushing
They're
each
there.
political party?
Hello, they are there.
There are women in
They
this.
are there. They are there.
So why are they not?
Because they don't have the money that the men have. They don't have the support that the men have. And within your family, you have to fight to gain acceptance as a politician. You have to seek your husband's permission to run. And if he feels that you're going to be going to that hotel room at 3 a.m. and he can't, he's not sure what's going to be. He is going to oppose it. And if he's afraid that you're going to become more famous, more powerful, quote unquote, better known than he is, got a problem. And that you have to contend with. Because, our men can be very insecure sometimes. Okay. And this is what all the things that we have to deal with. Women, stepping out there.
I think I was reading something. There was an analysis that was made by someone in England recently that some of the strongest and most powerful men always find women that are more intelligent and more interesting than themselves. And they used Obama as an example.
Absolutely.
That the wife is definitely more intelligent than him. But
he has not
he's the president. They looked at Bill Clinton and said, look at
thank you very much.
How amazingly talented and interesting and intelligent
yes.
she is.
Yes. It's a smart man that does that. It's a smart man. It's a man who also is very secure in himself, who allows his wife to be all that she can be, knowing fully well that a fulfilled woman beside you is the best. She will give you her best because you have allowed her to flourish, to be her own person. It's a smart man that knows that. It's a secure man that knows that.
So how do we begin to develop smart men in Nigeria?
In our schools, in our churches. I attend a church where there are very powerful women, and my pastor is all for that. He is so secure in who he is and his calling, and he encourages. We just love him for that because he encourages women to go out there and make it, and he encourages the men to be like him, to have this broad-mindedness, to allow their daughters and their wives to be all that they can be. This is a Fountain of Life church. Everybody knows about this church and powerful women that are in this church. And it's something that our churches should do. It's even the Catholic Church, as conservative as it can be, also recognizes that women are important. Look at the amount of attention that is given to the mother of Jesus.
Yes.
woman.
Holy Mary,
Holy
Mother
Mary.
of God.
Why can't we translate that into regular life? That you need to really, women are created by God and they're created with purpose. And I always say that when I die and go back to heaven, and God is now looking at my life and say, well, you were supposed to get this done, get that done. Why didn't you? I'm not going to look at him and say, the men stopped me.
No.
No. So I'm going to do all that I can to achieve what I've been sent here to do. Now, all the education that I got, all the exposure, all the opportunities, I'm going to step down and say, because a man is standing in my way, I'm not going to be talking about that. No, definitely not.
Now, let's look at young girls of today. I'm going back to the issue of domestic violence. There are times when people will say that if a man slaps you once, make it the last time he will ever raise his hand against you. But these days, you still find girls who get slapped around a few times, and they say, "Oh no, he came back. He said he was sorry." So
and bought you presents, probably.
Yes, some nice perfume and new shoes and bags, and they feel it is okay. And then he does it again.
He will continue doing
and
it.
again.
He will never stop.
And he says sorry every single time, and he says, "I love you." What should be the message to those kind of young girls?
There would be girls and women like that, you know. We all don't have the capacity to get up and say enough is enough. Not everybody has that. So you are always in the society, even in advanced societies, or so-called developed societies, you are still going to have that. There's a great deal of it going on in the US and in the UK. Heavens, yes. So you would have that. But for that individual who wants to say, no, I'm not having this, the law should be able to back you up. And women, be careful, you could get killed in the process. You keep taking it and you keep taking it, and the more you take, the more he gives you. Then one day he's off his rockers and he kills you. And it has happened in this society. And you can come back to life again. And be mindful that your children are watching this. Think about your children. So that marriage may be important, but it's not worth your life.
Yeah.
You know, I won't take it. And there's also emotional abuse. I will not take the emotional abuse. I will not take the physical abuse. And sometimes emotional abuse can be worse than physical abuse. And it happens a lot in this society where the woman is reduced to nothing. And even in front of her children, she is abused and she's reduced to nothing, and she's worth nothing before the servants and before the children. And that woman goes back and cringes. And she folds in. And depression sets in. Insanity sometimes sets in. So you have to look at the situation. And this is what we can do to encourage young people: go to school, get an education, get a trade, make money for yourself, be financially independent. You see, if you are financially independent, a man, there is so much he knows you can take. You walk out and you can stand on your own and even raise your children on your own.
Yes.
But if you have to depend on him for everything, if you are that one, you're always looking for men with money who can give you so much and buy those wonderful presents and take you on trips, there's a price to be paid for it, and it just might be your life. So for our young women, go out there, work hard, make it on your own. Love your husband, bring your money into the family, use it for the family, but be financially independent. And that says that the abuse gets to a point where I'm not taking this. You can go on your own.
Okay. Now, if we want to look at this issue of law enforcement now, there are instances where people have mentioned that the policeman is a man more often than not.
Yes.
So a woman goes there and say, "I've been raped," and the policeman there are looking,
probably asking for it.
You've got skirts this short, you've got clothes that's showing around here that level, and you expect men not to want.
Exactly.
How do you justify it? How do we begin to get across to law enforcement agents to realize that this is not acceptable and they shouldn't even be thinking that way?
Training. And I believe it has already started. I know that the police, they're making, this has been a long-standing problem, and I know that they're making changes. Those changes may not happen as fast as we would like them to. And that's why you and I keep talking, and all the NGOs and the rights groups, and we will keep talking. We keep hacking away at it. Look at what happened in India.
Yes, the rape.
Absolutely. And now the laws are changing. Now people are changing their perception. They're changing everything. Because the women came to a point where they said, no more. And they poured out, and even the men with them, poured out into the streets, demonstrated, brought the country to its standstill, and said, we are not putting up with this anymore.
But do we
Maybe
need,
that's what Nigerian women need to do.
do we need an event or an
No,
incident
no,
such
no,
as
no, no.
that
We've had
to
enough.
galvanize us?
Haven't we had enough of those? Haven't we had enough women killed by their husbands? Haven't we had enough women raped and killed?
So why have we not created
I
the
don't know.
groundswell
I
required?
don't know. I really don't have an answer to that. I don't.
Should we set up a forum and get women to talk about it and
I
come up
think
with
so.
solutions?
I think so. I think so.
Because there's a need for solution to this. Because if we don't get our law enforcement agents,
The rape incidents in universities, in schools,
oh yes,
it's just absolutely astronomical, the numbers.
yes.
And nothing is being said about it. Nothing is being said.
Is this a problem for society or for government?
I
Who
think
should
it's
be-
I think it's for society, and I think it's for government, and I think it's for parents. If my daughter is raped, hey, that school is coming down. You're gonna have to account. God forbid. But you touch my child, I will not rest until I bring you to justice. And so it's up to the parents too.
What is it about Nigerian parents that make it such that they're not particularly willing to fight for the rights of their children? They're not pushing it. They will not face constituted authority and say, you got it wrong here.
I guess because many parents feel they don't have the support from society and can't go it alone. Yeah, I can speak because I am Onyeka Onwenu, and if I stand out on the street and say, look, my child has been harmed, people will turn around and listen to me. So it's easier for me to say that. But what about the next person? How easy is it for them? So one has to be realistic.
So how do we get or rally support?
NGOs, where are you? Rights groups, where are you? How active are you? How effective are you in dealing with these crucial issues? That's the question we need to ask. Because they can be in the forefront. They can provide a support for the parents. They can do that. They can speak where the parents can't.
Okay, now let's go back to schools. Do we need a curriculum in schools, something in there that talk about women and show that women should be empowered and they should empower themselves? Because the self-confidence, should we have something
We certainly
in our
should.
curriculum?
We certainly
What would
should.
you be recommending?
Have courses on women, women's rights, women's issues. Boost.
And should this be for only the girls?
No.
Okay.
Oh, it should be for both sexes, definitely. The boys need to know. It's what I've done with my boys. We discuss women's issues, and they know how I feel as a woman. And sometimes they come back and say, you know, Mom, what do women really want? You know?
What do women really want?
They ask me those
Yes.
questions, and I sit them down. You know, in a relationship, I say, talk to her, get to know her, spend time. It's not this relationship is not about.
She doesn't speak in clear language the way
No,
a man
just treat her as a friend. Treat her, make her your friend.
Yes.
Number one,
Yes.
take her out, not because you're planning, and don't you dare do the other stuff, but
Yes.
talk with her.
Yeah.
Find out who she is, what she likes. Discuss politics with her, social issues with her.
Okay. We've got some people just joining in. If you're just joining us on this Hangout with Onyeka Onwenu, the elegant stallion of the world, not even just of Nigeria, but Africa.
You flatter me, thank you.
So if you do want to take part in this, please feel free. We'll be happy to take your comments or your questions. So do let us know. We're trying to check who is on already. Okay, we're checking on the names of those. We've got Habib Mustafa, who's just joined. Bobola Oniwura is there. And Kathleen Idoko is there as well. So if you have a question, just indicate that you do want to ask a question or you just want to make a comment. So now, one of the things that we did was to promote this on Twitter. And we said very clearly that if you're a woman of purpose and aspiring to be one or whatever it is, that you should retweet the message and join in the conversation. Somehow, the people that have joined so far, they're men, and the people who retweeted, they're mainly men. So you then wonder, where are the girls? Where are the ladies? Why will they not be out there being the ones that would champion something of this nature?
Absolutely. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that. I wish that it was the other way around, because I'm particular about the girl child. I'm particular about young women. I'm particular about young women. I see the things that are happening in this society. I see where our priorities are going. You know, find that rich man. Lay down whatever you need to lay down. Get whatever you need to get. The more money you have, the more respect you have. And it's all wrong. I wasn't raised that way. And I try to impact in the lives of those that I mentor and those that come close to me enough to hear me talk about such issues, that it's absolutely the wrong way to go.
What kind of mentorship program should we be looking at in Nigeria for young ladies?
I have, my ministry is called Ministry for the Arts, and it's mainly for young men and women in the arts, to teach by example and by fellowship that your gifts are given for a purpose. You should discover your gifts, and if it happens to be in the entertainment industry, let me tell you about the entertainment industry. Let me tell you about the pitfalls. Let me tell you how I have dealt with them. And let me tell you how you can push forward. I'm very grateful to God that I've been in this profession for over 32 years. I went straight to the top and I've stayed at the top. It's by God's grace, by being hardworking, by being focused, by making myself useful to my community, my environment, my country, my society. And this is what I want to impact on young people. Don't be a flash in the pan, because you're paying attention to the things which are not important. Having a flashy car, having a flashy dress, being able to jump on the airplane and go there. Those things will come, and they're good things. They will come, but you need hard work, you need commitment, and you need focus.
Okay, for young ladies in the entertainment industry, I've had the privilege and opportunity of meeting quite a few of them, and their position is often that the entertainment industry in Nigeria is an extremely challenging one for women, and it's so difficult to find a young lady in the Nigerian entertainment industry making it. It's so difficult. What is it we need to do to encourage, to support, and to empower them? Because the key thing is they need to have the backing. You can't just go into the entertainment industry and say, oh yeah, I'm beautiful, I'm talented, and suddenly you are at the top.
They'll eat you up. They'll eat you up. You'll be gone. There are some that are making it. You take someone like Omaomi. She's my very wonderful daughter, and she's very hardworking. You take Waje. You take Asha. You take a good number of them who are making it now, and I'm so proud of each and every one of them. And these are people who are going to be there for a lifetime. Jody is coming up, and Jody said to me recently, said, I look at you And I'm just grateful that it is possible for someone to be in this profession and make it a lifetime profession, which is what I have done. And so by being there as an example, there are those who are looking at me and some other female musicians who've been there for a long stretch of time and say, yes, this is possible. You pay the price, but you have to decide that it is worth it. And it's precisely though, I remember when I first came out with my education, my outspoken nature, my desire to express myself, my ability to express myself and to talk about issues. The press for a long time, we were battling it out there because they said a lot of things about me that were false. And I belonged to organizations where my forcefulness was taken the wrong way. And they would go ahead and sponsor these, terrible articles about me. And I had to go through that. And I had to and after a while, people begin to see the true picture of who you are when you're steadfast and you keep your eyes focused on the ball. That's where I'm going, and I'm going to get there. So this is what I want these young women to do. You may be called names. You may have some terrible experiences happening to you because you're a woman, and particularly because you want to stand firm in what you believe and do what you believe in. But hang in there. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you.
Okay. Now, joining, and some of them are just sending us messages. We've got Habib in Mustafa saying, enjoying your program from Dublin in Ireland. Habib, well done. Great to know you are out there in Ireland. And also Habib did say that just to say a big thank you to Auntie Onyeka for all she did and the memories we still hold of her when she sang and when the core values of the Nigerian society was top notch.
Now, thank you.
That's Habib from Dublin in Ireland. Now, if we're to look at where the entertainment industry was some 20, 30 years ago and where we are now, would you say that there's been a massive growth in number of the female artists?
Well, there was a time when we held sway. We were in control. In fact, the men were nowhere together.
I think I do remember that.
You remember that time?
Yes.
Where Obi Onyoha, Dora Ifudu, Mata Leto.
Yes.
There's so many female artists.
The woman that's passed away now.
Nelly, how could I forget? Yes. She was there before us, and really worked so hard and made a way for so many of us to be accepted. Nelly Uchendo, as well, and the men were nowhere to be found at that time.
Yeah, it was a big thing. Yeah. Because then I was in Radio Nigeria too in Martin Street, and it's like you want to play songs in the afternoon, and 6 out of 10 will be female artists.
Absolutely,
and it was wonderful.
Yeah, the kitchen got too hot.
Yeah,
and some of us left. It was difficult because it was really very difficult. I remember talking with Dorothy, and I said, "You can't leave me here all by myself." She said, "I can't take it." Wow. She was misunderstood. A lot of terrible things were said about her. But you have to grow a thick skin. If I didn't have a thick skin, I would have given up a long time ago. But I took some of them to court and I won the cases. Yeah. So I said, good. The pirates are taking all my money. So this is a way for me to make
your money back.
Please, could you write?
Write whatever you want. I will still be here.
Yes.
Still standing.
Absolutely.
So how do we develop that level of self-assuredness that makes it such that people will still be there standing and say, no matter what the world throw at me, I'm a woman of purpose and I will still be standing. How do we develop women like
First of all, you're a child of God. You got to know that. Yeah. So if I sit here and tell you I've done it by myself, I'll be lying. Because if it had to be me, I'd have been gone a long time ago. But I found my faith. I found my Jesus. Don't make any apologies about that, because it's what's holding me up. The love of Christ, the sense, the knowledge that I am here for a reason. there's nothing you can do to stop me. People still try, they're still trying, but you can't stop me, you're only wasting your time. So that's the knowledge. That's the thing that keeps me going. That's my self-assurance. That's my confidence. I don't think I'm better than the next person. I don't think I'm more beautiful than the next person. I just think I am Onyeka, created for a purpose, sent down here for that purpose. And I am going to do everything that I can as it gives me grace to pursue that purpose and hopefully achieve it. By the time I go, which we will all go.
Yes,
my children don't like to hear that. But
yes, no, that's not.
Don't even go there, Mom. But I will go, but I will die empty. I would have given everything that I'm supposed to give, and then it's time to go and rest.
Yes, that's the way it should be. That is definitely the way it should be. Oh gosh, what's the name?
Yinka
Adamu. Okay. All right, so now we've got Yinka Adamu in the house to join in the conversation.
Yes.
I'm aware that you're running a charity that is looking at fighting the issue of domestic violence and rape against women.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Okay, I actually started the organization LWTZE, meaning Ladies with a Zoom Effect.
With the Zooming?
Yes, Zoom
effect.
Yes, meaning we're in your face. You can't get rid of us anytime soon.
Okay.
So I started at thinking, there's so much going on about men beating up women, husbands beating up wives, and nobody's really doing something about it. And I keep referring to her, as in back in the days, she came out to sing with Sonny Ade, darling baby.
Yeah.
So she's an inspiration. I'm actually nervous sitting right here with her. So I keep referring to her that our artists are not doing enough. I'm a TV presenter, and I think, okay, if I can come out and talk, I can use what I have, because I actually have a leverage with media. So I could actually come out and use that. And our artists to come out and it's not only that think about and I thought, okay, why not come out and have a walk? But we started off with a forum, like where you were talking about having a forum, and I got victims together, ladies who have been beaten, who have actually given up, some who are still in their relationships, some who accept the fact that they were actually being beaten, but they loved it, they enjoyed it. Wow. So we had different scenarios.
Possibly, I mentioned that earlier, that some women say that other women deserve it, or they actually don't mind being beaten.
Yes, it was actually quite interesting, because it actually changed my perception about this whole violence thing. You think, oh, women are being beaten, and why are they not coming out? But that's what you get. You see women who tell you, oh, I was enjoying it, I was being raped, and I thought it was a new form of love that I should be open to. Yes, wow. A woman actually said that. Yeah.
Well, how many women feel that way, as opposed to those?
If for a woman to come out, because a lot of women don't want to come out. A lot of people don't want to come out. They send me tweets saying, "Can I see you in private? Can we talk?" I'm like, "Well, okay, I'm going to cover your face. I'll put you on my blog so you can talk about this." And say, "Oh, I don't want any trouble." Who is giving you the trouble? You have to help other women. You have to help the younger ones. So at the forum, it even took men to come out to say, you know what, if you're sitting down there, taking all the beating and everything, then you have a problem. If you keep sitting there, taking your man insulting you, calling you names, beating you morally, spiritually, and even physically, then you have a problem. So it actually opened my eyes to a new world entirely. Yes, and when I went, because I actually went for public speaking to Unilab and other schools, and also radio stations and everything to talk about, it was more men that were calling in.
There's shame attached to being beaten, because you are the victim and you have no control over what's happening to you. Also, if you talk about it, it means you may be forced to leave the situation. You don't have anything to fall back on. You're probably not financially independent. So you have to take those things. There's shame. There's a lot of shame.
Of shame. But we even have women that have even left. They have been courageous enough to leave the relationship, but they still don't want to come out.
Yes, because of the shame. Because of the shame. Who wants to come out and admit, hey, I'm a victim of rape. I was beaten. It's for us now to make it possible for them to come out without that shame attached to it. That's something that you and I need to concentrate on, to make it acceptable for them to walk the streets after showing their faces on TV that they were victims, without people pointing, is this not that woman that would... That's got to be done before you have more women. But even still in the US, a lot of women don't come out.
Now, one of the things I noticed is that in a place like the United Kingdom, there is always a refuge, a home for women who have been battered and who have experienced domestic violence. So they have somewhere to fall back on, which is what Onyeka was just saying now. If you have something to fall back on, and you know government or some charities will support you, will find a home for you and your children, it's not a case of the man will come, beat you black and blue, and then say, pack out of my house, and you've got nowhere else to go. So the fear of that will make you just accept whatever he throws at you. How do we begin to encourage charities and government and organizations to help in building refuge, a home or homes for women who have been battered?
By talking about it, by going out there to create more awareness. Like I had a walk, and I'm very shocked at the response that people have changed. Women are now starting to come out, not the ones that have been violated or whatever it is, but women in the government. I saw Mrs. Dabiri on TV talking about domestic violence, and I know more women are going to back her up. So I know strong women can come out. There are loads of rich people out there in Nigeria that can come out and say, okay, I want to give this. All we need to do is find out who the real NGOs, the true ones,
NGOs.
the real
So
ones
there are some that are just out to make money.
Oh yes, there are so many that are out to make money. Actually, I went all out just before the walk I had, because I wanted to know what are the benefits when you walk out of a relationship or marriage, or what NGO. We have so many of them. Which ones are the ones that really take you in, educate you, orientate you, and make you feel safe? Because that's what you need at that particular point in time. So, but you find out that most of them are like, there was a particular one that kept turning me down. He kept saying, you put on your PB, working with UN, and I'm doing this, I'm doing all of that. You're making money, obviously. What are you doing with the money? You have an NGO that's fighting violence. What are you doing? What are you doing with the people, the victims and everything? Where are the victims? And it's just saying, Yinka, we need to see and talk. We will see and talk. We'll see and talk. We'll see and talk when? Till date. He hasn't sat down with me to talk about anything.
And another thing we have to look at, our laws about child support and the entitlements of women in a divorce situation. You divorce, you walk out with nothing. Everything is in the house is his name. He built the house. He bought this. He bought that. He owns the children. And this is what women look at and say, what would I have at the end of the day? Nothing.
Is this part of our law that the man owns the children and will have custody?
It's culture.
It is culture.
It's culture.
But it's not legal then.
No, the woman could gain custody. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, and I need to find out exactly before I can say. But I think that the laws, Nigerian laws, are fair in that direction. That the woman could gain custody if there is enough proof that the man would not take care of the children. The custody is given to the woman. But then, how many judges are going to toe that line?
Chief so wants his children, so Chief will get them no matter what.
Whatever Chief wants.
Chief, yes, because Chief will pay the police, he'll pay everybody.
Chief has influence.
So
okay.
It is up to women, really. Women need to come out. We need to fight for ourselves. And we also have men that have been beaten by their wives. So
that's the one that.
Yes, I have got calls. I got calls.
A man will call you and say, my wife is beating me.
Yes.
Is she a wrestler or a boxer?
Oh, okay. No, there were men that probably were raised to know that you shouldn't touch
fight,
a woman, you shouldn't fight a woman, and the woman just uses that against him, and is attacking. Some not even just physically, some it's with words, and you batter the man day in day out. We have a lot of that in Nigeria.
Wow.
Yes,
and the men keep quiet. The
Shame again.
Shame
Shame.
What are we talking about? You say
How do you go out
your
and
wife is
tell
calling
people
you
that
jobless, you useless, calling you all sorts of names, and you can't provide for the family, you're just there, saying all sorts of things. That just this is, you know how the country is. You're already stressed that when you come into the house and you get all of that, you're beaten, and you don't want to touch the woman. What do? And you already believe I'm a Christian, I shouldn't take my wife out of the house. So you're in the house all the day.
And enjoy it in pain.
Wow. Now that's a conversation for another day. And I would love to see the man who's having to endure that. But I guess most of them will not come out.
Oh, they will come out. They're actually more willing than women.
That to come out.
Yes.
They're more willing to
talk
talk
because
about
they're more willing to talk about it than women. Because if you see, we are coming out talking about fighting against women. I almost changed my work started going out like, okay, this is going to be for men. Since the women have refused to come out because I was getting angry. Why are you people sitting back? You're all fighting. Oh, women, we see pictures of women being battered and everything. We have not seen any of men. But the men are the ones coming out to fight, to even talk about women being beaten. And even how they have been.
I think we have to be a bit patient with this situation. We have to be. It's a gradual process. It's not going to change overnight. We're talking more and more. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we weren't having this conversation on TV. Now we're having the conversation. And so gradually, women will get used to coming out, talking, expressing themselves. Maybe they can find relief. We have to be patient.
Okay. So before we begin to wrap up, let's look at the issue of education with regards to women. Some people have said that domestic violence does not recognize education of women, that it cuts across barriers.
Yes, it does.
Now, what is it in the education of a woman that's been through primary, secondary, university, and some of them done postgraduate and have doctorate and things like that, and they still they get abused, and they kind of like accept it? Is it that the academic education does not give them enough dignity and self-assuredness or confidence that makes it such that they will say, absolutely, we draw the line here, this is not acceptable?
You want to take that?
Yes. Okay. I think it actually starts from the home. We need to start. The mother, if a mother is being abused, how does she educate a child? So it starts from the homes at the end of the day. But if we can, women, as I said earlier on, we need to come out. And I actually have a program drafted to go from schools to school, both male and female or mixed schools, and try to reorientate people, try to re-educate people, children, teenagers. But we need our divas. When I say divas, we need our superstars. We need strong women to come out and tell those younger ones that you can do it. I'm here. I've gone through this. I've gone through that, and I'm doing this right now. You can do it. If I can't do it, then you can do it. Because a lot of people don't believe. You think you need to. When you go to schools, you see everybody wants to sing. Everybody wants to be a dancer. Everybody thinks, okay, yeah, I want to be the next, and it's just a video in it and a long hair and makeup, and I will be doing what this person is doing. But it's not all about the looks. It's about what you have up there. It takes a lot of things, and a man needs to see that you respect yourself.
Absolutely.
To respect you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so it takes a lot of it takes educating and putting in these things. We need culture, but we need to twist it a bit.
So beyond the academics, then?
Beyond the academics, I think the way society, women are socialized in this society. Again, I go back to you must be married to be respected kind of thing. That's what would make a woman take all the violence and still, because she wants to bear that Mrs. So-and-so. Because that's really, in spite of the education, in spite of her personal achievements, what she thinks she has, her trump card, and her pass in society is the fact that she's Mrs. So-and-so. And if you don't see yourself as Mrs. So-and-so, you are nothing, and you are a nobody, with everything else that you've got. And we have to start, and I said, I went by personal example. I've maintained my name. You don't need to know if I'm married or not. I have my profession. It's not anybody's business, and I don't discuss it. Those who are close to me, come close to me, know whether I'm married or not. But it's not anybody's business. And this is to say that it's not my identity. You've got to respect me for who I am. And I wish that women, please bear the misses. It's marvelous. It's wonderful. Don't get me wrong. But it should not define you to the point of death and degrade you just so you can answer Mrs. I don't understand it.
Okay. All right. So if we ask Nigerians a question, what would you want to ask Nigerians to do?
Wow. The men.
The men.
The man. A man is a man who is confident in who he is, respects his wife, respects his daughters, respects his children, and allows them to be who God has made them to be. That is a man. That's my definition of a man. A man is not a man who beats his wife, who puts down his wife because it makes him feel big. Then you're not a man. In fact, you're a nobody. You're very small. So you want to prove that you're a man? Love your wife, love your children, respect them. That's what I want to say.
All right, Yinka.
Yes, that's it. Yes, she said it. She said it all. You need to respect the women because we are your mothers. We carry. Right now, women carry more than men, I think.
Yeah, they do.
So you need to respect us. You need to give us that space to breathe. Because a happy woman is a happy home at the end of the day. So for our mothers, we need to encourage our children, female, male. You need to talk to your male children, let them know the values of life and the values of being of taking care of a woman. Because if you take care of a woman, you're taking care of yourself. Take care of your wife, you're taking care of yourself. So it really starts from the home groups. So our mothers, please, we need to do more. We need to do more. We need to start talking to our children. This is 2013. Most children even know more than they keep growing. They know more than we think they do. So start talking about things you don't even think they should know about, and gradually you'll get there.
Okay, thank you very much. On that note, I'll just recall what someone I've listened to very, very recently, Cheryl Sandberg, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Facebook. She was saying that it's all in the hands of us, not me included, of women. It's in the hands of women. Whatever they choose to do, it's in their hand to make this happen. If anything is going to happen, it will be because the women have opted to make it happen. They can influence anybody and anyone. So it's in your hands, women. And of course, with the support of the men, a lot of things can happen. So on that note, we want to say thank you to all the people who are being involved. I think Tony, Bumi, Victor, Habib from Dublin, Matthew, and all the other people that have joined in the conversation. We want to say thank you very much for joining us. And I can see some of the people are just joining in the conversation, but we have to bring it to a close now and say thanks to Onyeka and to Yinka for being on this Google Hangout talking about women empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure.
It's good to be here.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
We can get up?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.